welcome to the Grimm Times podcast. This is episode 18. We are continuing our discussion here with Carl about Dragon Ball Z and everything related to that. So, back to where we were, I was going to let you start telling us about the Android saga, just a brief overview, and some of the moments that really stuck out to you in your memory.
Yeah, Android Saga. So you have this traveler from the future, and he happens to be Vegeta's son, with his soon-to-be wife, I guess you say,
Yeah, Bulma.
Bulma. And the funny thing is, it's that awkward moment where it's like, oh, we have a kid together, we don't even like each other, But anyway, Frieza actually shows up with a repaired body with his older brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cooler was only in the movies. King Cold actually showed up with Frieza, and King Cold was Frieza's father.
So you have that moment where you have, like the biggest villain of the show, and you think, oh, great, they're going to do like every other show ever has done, and they just come back and they're stronger than ever, and, you have to beat them some other way. Nope. Trunks kills him in like, what, like half a second?
Yeah.
It was pretty quick.
And it's a really cool scene too, because Trunks like slices him up with the sword, and then just does his oh, I can't remember what that blast is called, but he just pretty much blows him away with one energy blast.
So, and this Trunks guy, he comes from an alternate future. Well, it has to become an alternate future if they want the future to be not messed up, because he comes from a future where there's these androids built by this evil genius, uh, Dr. Gero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are going to take over the world unless, Goku and the Z Fighters can stop them again. Well, the one problem with that, Goku is going to get this horrible heart condition, and right when the first androids show up, he starts to show symptoms. And so, one of my favorite scenes that stands out for me to this day is Vegeta, you know, he's been off in space training, trying to become what Goku did when he beat Frieza. And, he's incredibly frustrated that he can't. And, I remember the scene, he's on an asteroid and he's just like, screaming and bloody murder because he thinks he's weak. He hates himself. And, he becomes Super Saiyan. And then in that moment in the series, you're like, oh, here we go. There's more of them.
Yeah, that was really it. I mean, Vegeta's pride came into effect there because Goku was born into a low class family. He was considered a low class Saiyan. And Vegeta, here he is, the prince of all Saiyans, and he couldn't even do what this low class Saiyan did. And then finally, after all his training, and he's just like, fine, I give up. I don't care anymore. And then finally, as he just like powers up in anger, he transforms. And that's that level of emotion I think that is required to become a Super Saiyan. And maybe that pureness of heart was just then starting to show through.
It's interesting because, you have when Trunks comes from the future and kills Frieza, Goku arrives shortly after, right?
Yeah.
And Trunks, to convince himself that he's not wasting his time coming back to time to warn Goku, tries to fight Goku, and Goku holds him back with one finger.
Yeah.
And that's another scene that stuck out for me.
And one other scene, kind of along that same line, is when Trunks first shows up and they're waiting for Goku to come by, and Trunks is sitting over by Vegeta, and he keeps looking at Vegeta, and Vegeta's like, "What? Do you have a crush on me, or what? What are you looking at me for?" And Trunks is like, "Oh no, nothing." And he pulls out this little refrigerator out of a capsule. Bulma has Capsule Corp, and I don't. Was he actually wearing the Capsule Corp jacket at that point?
He
Because he would.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Oh, you must have." Bought that from us, and my father runs that, because it was kind of one of those funny moments. But yeah, Trunks was kept looking at Vegeta because that's his dad, and he never got to really see his dad that much, and it was just fascinating for him. And then when he fought Goku, he was kind of testing how strong Goku really was because he always heard of Goku from Gohan. Goku's like the legend, the strongest Saiyan, and yeah, Trunks' future was really a very dark and sad place. I mean, Gohan was the only one left. The androids had killed everyone, and Gohan ends up losing his arm and then ends up losing his life in the end. But yeah, Trunks came back in time to stop that from happening, and that leads into this whole complex storyline with Cell and time travel. And I'm not even sure if I fully understand it at this point because I know at one point Cell kills Trunks, and it's like when did that happen? I don't even know. So I don't know. But anyway, you were just getting into when Vegeta shows up, I think.
Yeah, and Vegeta shows up and he's a Super Saiyan. Everyone's surprised that he's reached that level, and he kills one of the androids rather easily, if I remember.
Yeah.
Just rips his arms off. But then I think the next one would be 13 and 14, the blonde haired chick, and the
17 and 18.
17 and 18. Yeah.
Yep. 18
See,
was the blonde.
it hurts me to say, but Jeff is definitely more of a DBZ fan than I am. He knows the specifics way more. But
Yeah, I am a bit of a super nerd, I guess. I don't
but
know.
it does kill me to say that, folks. But
Yeah, it was 19 and 20 that first showed up, and it turns out Android 20 was Dr. Gero, and 19 was the one that Vegeta killed, easily with this really weird looking white clown looking thing.
yeah, I remember it was
Yeah,
creepy.
but yeah, after that happened, Gero takes off, and the Z fighters kind of follow him, looking for his hideout, and that's where he's going to activate 17 and 18, and yeah, I mean they're trying to find these guys frantically because Trunks at first he's like, "What the heck? These are the wrong androids. It's not right." So then 17 and 18 get activated. 16, he's this big burly guy with like this big orangish red mohawk, and everybody thinks that he's going to be the strongest, but really he's isn't. It's hard to gauge. I mean, I don't know. 17 and 18 they lay waste to everybody. They take out all the Z fighters, and as Carl said, Goku had the heart disease, and Trunks shows up and gives him the medication for it. And at that point in time, they didn't have the medication that Goku would have needed, but since Trunks is from the future, it's at a point where they have the cure for it. I love that era with the androids, just the fighting and the storyline behind it. But then Cell comes into play, and Cell is my favorite bad guy.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty much the genetic, like he's more of like a biologically created. He's not really a robot, right?
Right.
He's
He's not really an android. He's made of cells, and
right,
thus he's called Cell.
right.
But he was made of cells from Piccolo, from Goku, from Vegeta.
And he has all their special attacks, and
Yeah, he can
knows
do everything.
their strategies, and you know that's where in the show it starts to not rely on Goku so much to solve all the problems. There's other characters that they want to develop, and so Goku's son Gohan has been training incredibly hard with his, I guess you would say, master
Mm-hmm.
Piccolo, because
Yeah,
you would think Goku would be the one that would train Gohan, but Goku always takes it too easy on Gohan.
yeah, because it's his son.
Right, and Piccolo is just, he's a, at this point in the show, he's a really, you know, he's a hero. He really is, but he's not nice. He doesn't treat people nice. He does the right thing, but he's not gonna, baby Gohan when he trains him. So that's why Piccolo is training Gohan, and
Let's talk about Piccolo for a moment. I love how everybody can watch the show and take something different from it. Like Christy, her favorite character is Piccolo, and what I've always been kind of confused about is who is Piccolo, because there was the Piccolo that started out, and then when they went to Namek, Piccolo fused with Nail. And interesting thing about Nail, Nail was also done. The voice of Nail was done by Sean Shamel, the voice of Goku and Kinkai. So you can kind of hear it too a little bit in Nail. But he fuses with Nail, and then he's like, "Just call me Piccolo," or whatever. And so then there's those two inside one body. And then where we're at right now in the Android and Cell saga, Piccolo fuses again, and at one point Piccolo is the strongest character in the show. He's
when he
stronger than
fuses with Nail and Kami,
and
right?
Kami, yeah. When he fuses with Kami, and he's like, just call me the Namek at this point, but it's still Piccolo. And yeah, at that point when he fuses with Kami, he is the strongest character in the show because Goku and Gohan are in the hyperbolic time chamber, or maybe in Vegeta and Trunks are at this point. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yeah, it was really cool because Piccolo was the strongest, and this is when Cell was still the really weird looking lizard thing with the tail and everything,
Yeah,
and he was like sucking people up. And Piccolo goes over there and he beats him, like he beats the crap out of him. But then Cell escapes, and then he absorbs 17 first, I believe. Yeah, he absorbed 17 first, and Piccolo. It was interesting because the androids were actually hiding from Cell, and Piccolo was like, "Get out of here!" trying to get the androids
yeah,
to leave. And 17's like, "What? Why are you saving me?" Because Cell needs to absorb both the androids to become perfect Cell, the strongest he could be. And because Cell has those uh, cells from Vegeta and Goku, his pride is also there, and he actually lets the guys train and become stronger, and he wants the good fight, and that's why I really liked Cell so much is because he was just so fun. I mean, he made the Cell games.
yeah.
I mean, how awesome is that? Your bad guy wants to play games with you and give you a fair shot, and he's like, I
Right.
will fight you one by one, or I'll fight you all at once, but I would rather fight the strongest one first, just,
And I think that has a lot to do with the Japanese culture in the
yeah,
show.
again, yeah, so they have the cell games and all that stuff, and at this point Vegeta, he reaches that ultra super saiyan where they get really big and bulky, and they fight Cell and they realize that they're too slow, and Trunks had actually thought that he surpassed Vegeta in strength when he reaches ultra super saiyan, but it was really just that Vegeta knew that that size was too bulky and too slow to really keep up with Cell, and he was going to get his butt kicked. And so it's one of those moments where the son thinks that he's smarter than the parent, but really the parent, Vegeta knows what he's doing when it comes to fighting. So yeah, there was a Cell saga there. Was there anything you want to add to that before we move on?
No, I mean, there you could add things for days.
Yeah, that's true. There's so many episodes in the series, but and deservedly so. I don't think there's enough really, but hopefully they'll continue on the series. There's been rumors about that for a while after Battle of Gods went over so well, selling out every theater it was in. Downloading was in the millions. So
A new game that actually came out today as well.
that was today. Oh
Yeah,
man, I got to pick that up.
yeah, me too.
Don't roll your eyes, Christy. um, yeah, so there was that. Let's see. So yeah, after Cell gets defeated by Gohan, in my opinion, he is the first one to reach Super Saiyan level 2, and Goku actually sacrificed himself trying to transport. Cell was going to blow himself up to basically just win but lose at the same time. And Goku tries to transport him to King Kai's planet, and then King Kai and Goku all get killed, sadly. But and that moment with Goku too is where he's kind of just smiling and he knows that he's gonna die, but he knows that he's saving his family, and that's kind of the ultimate reward for him. But it just makes you gain respect for Goku again. But anyway, Gohan ends up defeating Cell, and then we move on to the Buu saga, and this was pretty much the final saga. I mean, you could split it up like the Buu saga, the Kid Buu saga, and. But yeah, so that was a really interesting thing. I liked Majin Buu quite a bit as a bad guy, but I mean, at this point, you have to get really creative with your villains, and I would almost say at the beginning when I first started watching, Buu was too strong. He was too invincible. But the lead up to that was epic with Majin Vegeta and being, taken over and reaching Super Saiyan 2 and then him fighting Goku in the desert. I mean that whole sequence was just really epic.
Right. And something I just want to touch on for just a few seconds is in that saga, you could definitely tell that they were trying to connect to the two universes of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z because you had the World Martial Arts Tournament in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was really interesting, kind of a throwback to the original series.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it, especially with Videl coming into play, and she was learning how to fly from Gohan and Goten Goten and Trunks coming into the series at that point too. That was a really fun part. It was really interesting to see how. I mean, you really feel like you're a part of the family with these characters, and Goten looked so much like Goku as a kid. Um, but then in GT, when they get older, you can really see the differences. But GT is kind of I like GT. I like the idea of it, but the execution was lacking a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So it was an interesting time in Dragon Ball Z, And when they were fighting Boo, and Goku was Super Saiyan 3 at this point, and you had Gotenks, and the fusion element was brought into it. You actually have Vegito as well, which was the fusion with the Potara earrings that Old Kai had given them. And it was kind of funny because I think Goku doesn't tell Vegeta that the Potara earrings are permanent until like 2 seconds before he has to put it on. And Vegeta's like, "What are you telling?" And yeah, so he just snaps it on. They fuse to Vegito, and luckily, I guess they get absorbed by Super Buu, and because I think Vegito was a little too arrogant, kind of like Gotenks was,
Yeah.
and so he ends up getting absorbed, and that caused them to split. So they, got a second chance at being themselves again, I guess. And the only other time that fusion was in the series was in one of the movies where Goku and Vegeta actually do the what was that dance called? I guess it was just the fusion dance.
Versus Janemba.
Yeah,
Yeah, good movie.
yeah, and you have Gogeta, and let's see. Actually, does Gogeta go Super Saiyan 4 in the movie?
Not in that movie, no. I don't think so. I don't even think Goku had reached 4 at that point.
I didn't think he had. I know Gogeta does make it to Super Saiyan 4 though. Maybe that was during GT as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be at GT. I don't remember 4 being in
Yeah, maybe
Dragon
that
Ball
was.
Z at all.
Yeah, 4 definitely was not. But maybe that was when he was fighting Omega Shenron as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
very final.
I actually watched the last part of GT not too long ago, and that you're right.
Hmm.
It was when he was fighting that dragon thing. The one where he's fighting Janemba. I thought that was interesting. The episodes that are around that time of the movie, you have the character Pycon in it,
Yeah, yeah,
and interesting. I forget what it's called, but Goku's dead, so he's in the other realm, and
yeah. He's in Otherworld.
yeah, and they have this big martial arts tournament, really, for all the Kais, and the Kais are basically like the kings of the sectors of the areas in the universe, and but uh, Jeff could tell you more specifics about that, but I just remember Pycon. He was also another character I really enjoyed watching. He was at some points in the show stronger than Goku.
Yeah, I mean they were pretty much neck and neck in that final fight in the martial arts tournament. But then I think because you remember Grand Kai, he was gonna fight the winner right after whoever won the tournament, and Goku and Pycon are going at it, and they're in this dome thing, and they hit each other and kind of bounce off, and they both touch the dome, the roof of the dome at the same time. And Grand Kai comes up with this goofy thing. He's like, "Well, it turns out you're both disqualified because you touched the out of the ring," And Goku's like, "Are you kidding me?" So yeah, I don't even remember who won that fight between Goku and
I
Python.
think it ended up being a draw.
Yeah, so but yeah, that was another interesting part of the series. I mean, there's so many aspects you can look into. That were just such great moments, like when Vegeta sacrificed himself to try and kill Buu. It was the episode Final Atonement, one of my favorite episodes of all time. And Vegeta finally kind of he shows that he loves his son and his family, and he hugs Trunks, and um, it was this really emotional goodbye. And then in the end, that doesn't even do it. Piccolo's looking through the aftermath, and Buu starts coming back together. But yeah, so there was this whole deal with Super Buu and him absorbing people and getting their powers, and then Kid Buu came along, and Kid Buu was a scary little guy. I mean, he was
Yeah,
tough.
yeah,
But Goku and Vegeta, it was almost comical at times when they were on the Supreme Kai's planet fighting Kid Buu, and Vegeta's down there trying to distract Kid Buu while Goku powers up the Spirit Bomb, and it was really crazy. And that was the one and only time where that Spirit Bomb actually worked. I mean, I can't think of any other time where the Spirit Bomb actually accomplished anything. I mean, it was a
yeah,
great idea, and I think it was King Kai's technique, right? I think King Kai came up with the Spirit
yeah.
Bomb.
King Kai for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was really interesting, but yeah. I mean, we're pretty much at the end of this podcast. We'll have to do another one at some point. I want to touch. We didn't touch on Broly at all, and Broly is someone that we must talk about.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
maybe we'll cover some of the other movies as well, and we'll talk about uh, battle of gods and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I want to thank Carl again for being on the show. I hope to do more episodes with him in the future. We're gonna start releasing these episodes more frequently, I hope, and I'm really enjoying it. So thanks to everybody for listening. Carl, do you have any final thoughts?
Uh, no, everyone have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are at, and thanks for having me on, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. Hope to do it again soon. And hope you all enjoyed this trip down memory lane. Definitely go watch Dragon Ball Z if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't watched that show, you just need to watch it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Just watch it.
even with all these spoilers, I mean the show's so deep, you'll get into it
Yeah,
either
we
way.
didn't cover even 1% of it, so.
Yeah. But anyway, check us out www.thejeffjarmanshow.com. I'm at jeffjarman55 on Twitter. If you want to hear some crazy stuff, just follow me on there. I rant about all kinds of stuff. But anyway, and screw Facebook. I don't really use that, but maybe I shouldn't say that on a podcast. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. Check us out on YouTube as well, the Jeff Jarman Show, Grim Times Podcast. We also have Keepers of the Key. We're everywhere. Check us out. Tell a friend if you like the podcast. Tell us what you think. Comments section on the website. Just look around and help us do what we love. Thank you for listening once again. This has been the Grim Times Podcast.
Have a good night.